Be another YAP session. So Linus Tech Tips, they recently, I just saw the notification. So they have their Linux thing out. Okay, this is something too, but I'm just gonna cover that quickly because let's talk Linux, right? Let's see.
Who will go crawling back to Microsoft?
It's like, why are we so?
Like a
Just a second. From the right time. Volume is also fine.
baby.
What's wrong? Yeah, it is just connectivity.
That's a
Alright, let's see.
For over a month, Elijah, Luke, and I have been daily driving some flavor of Linux.
Alright.
We showed you what we chose to install.
We talked through some of the roadblocks that we hit.
We even attempted challenges with
Luke is a developer, okay. But the other two, let's see.
varying degrees of success.
But now it's time for our final verdicts. Who will stay on Linux and who will go crawling back to Microsoft like a baby?
At least they have the right sentiment.
That's a joke, of course. These are just our personal experiences, and your year of the Linux desktop might come sooner or later than ours. There's no shame in either.
You are already a Linux user.
But one thing that we can say for certain is that the year is closer today than it was the last time these two did the challenge.
So true. It feels like Linux has been moving forward at the same speed that Windows has been moving backward, which is, I mean, both are pretty impressive. All three of us, spoiler alert, seriously considered staying on Linux rather than returning to that sinking ship. Just like we considered which of us would segue.
To our sponsor.
Private buy something online.
Everyone at home, seeing the community rally around with a special show. I want to start by thanking everyone out there for your interest in this series, along with a special shout out for the folks who played along at home. Seeing the community rally around Linux shows me that at least some people really do care about important things like freedom, privacy, and owning their own stuff. We did a whole video discussing how the legitimate threat that Linux now presents is finally forcing Microsoft to wake up and do something, take action. And this is just proof once again that competition is good for absolutely everyone and everything. So with that in mind then, let's kick off with the highlights from the first month.
For me, the first one has got to be speed. Maybe it's just general bloat. Maybe it's because everything doesn't have to check in with
Okay, fine. Just a quick note about, I had tweeted about this before. So, it's amazing what they are doing here, right? They are, see, obviously we can't, they are normies, but we can't treat them like normal normies. Like, they've been like technical for years, especially Linus. No, Elijah, maybe more of a normie. But the work that they do day to day, that is not something that, your everyday grandpa, or not even grandpa, your everyday cousin would do. This is work that, they edit videos on a remote server, they do shared files, they do lots of things, right? They do streaming, right? I mean, this has been amazing with Arch, but I have a pretty basic setup. I have a good mic, headphone, and a default USB webcam. But these guys have proper setups for everything, right? They have stream decks and all of those things. And plus, their use case is not something that. So Linux is for devs by devs, right? So they're doing gaming, they're doing office stuff, they're doing file transfers. The file transfers is fine, but they're doing stuff that generally people, I would just SCP a file, right? I wouldn't even think about setting up a shared network storage and doing that. so Linux is out of its comfort zone with these guys. So it's not a real normie experience, but it's close enough, right? And I like the attitude that especially Linus has, and Luke is Linux user. He's pretending to be a Windows user at this point. Elijah is a pro user. That's not a non-me pro user, what I would say.
Speed. Maybe it's just general bloat. Maybe it's because everything doesn't have to check in with Copilot when I do literally anything. But Bazzite just felt snappier than Windows and quick
Fedora based, right? I think so, yeah.
application
He had some DNF issues in the last one.
launch time made my system feel honestly brand new
Not DNF, sorry. RPM package issues.
every single time I used it. I also did love how supportive the community was overall. I lurked in the Discord a decent amount, and if you ignore the couple times that they shit on me before this challenge, the community seemed really keen on
Guys,
ignore
what
the
is
couple
going
times
on?
that they shit on me before
Yeah, what was this regarding? Framework.
this challenge. The community seemed really keen
But I'm telling you, if Framework was available in India, I would sell my MacBook Pro M3 Pro and get it. Nirav, dude, you're Indian.
on helping get new users the best Bazzite experience possible. Saying that, there were some other things.
Nope! We're only doing positive right now. Positive things only.
Fine.
I think the biggest eye-opener
Thought so.
for me happened every time I was back on Windows for some reason. Like when I jumped on the WAN Show laptop, for instance. I go to sit down and boom! Do you want to use Edge? Do you like Xbox gaming? Would you like a OneDrive subscription? No! Just like the last time you were all up in my grill asking me about it. It drives me freaking crazy. Like if Microsoft was a guy at college, he would be the kind of guy that the bartender would type up a thing and then show it to the girl sitting next to him. He doesn't take no for an answer. And I just found
Or yes. Remember my login?
Okay, that I can relate to. I mean, I didn't really use Microsoft, but in my previous company, I used to use Teams a lot on Linux, so yeah.
Just
he just doesn't listen.
yeah.
I just found that over the course of my month with Linux, my trust in it grew. And by comparison, my trust in Windows is just shattered at this point.
What did you expect?
I think the main thing that I was surprised by was actually game compatibility. Because last time this was
is
a
one thing that I haven't really tried because I haven't really gamed ever. So the last game I played was Mass Effect Andromeda and CS, not CSGO, I'm talking about CS0. And that's when I had a college style cheap laptop with an NVIDIA GPU. Nowadays I'm all Apple hardware, even though I'm running Arch Linux here. My new OS is probably ready by now, right? I didn't put my password. Right, even though I am on Arch, by the way, it's still a MacBook Pro 16. And my other one is work laptop, of course, is macOS. And yeah, M3 Asahi, I'm waiting on Asahi. We'll do a video on it, we'll do something on it. I'll try to get into Asahi and try to figure out how whatever. But I don't have any hardware that can get. Actually, never mind. I didn't get Cyberpunk recently in a sale. And it does run pretty well on my MacBook Pro. I guess I'm not a gamer anymore. Maybe when I get into game dev, maybe that's when I'll do it.
pretty big issue. And for most of this challenge, you know, I started with every time before I was going to launch a game, I loaded up a browser, checked ProtonDB, what are people doing to make it work?
Didn't believe ProtonDB.
Yeah. And then within, honestly, not that much time, I stopped checking. I stopped even checking force compatibility. I just started pressing play, and almost everything just worked.
It's like roulette, but 5 of the 6 chambers are
Okay,
full.
let's do one exercise. I'm not really a gamer, but while we watch the video, I just install Steam and just install some game that I can think of that's free. CSGO is something I can think of. Let's just see if CSGO can run on this 2019 Intel Mac with Arch while this gets started.
yeah. It just worked.
It's like roulette, but 5 of the 6 chambers are full.
yeah. It would almost always work. The problems were, I guess, no, we're only doing positive.
Yes,
Okay.
we are.
Actually,
So-
I'm giving up on the Steam thing because logging into Steam is a whole other story that I
Stick with that.
So what we can do is go to lmg.gg/floatplane, where some of the free-flowing discussion might end up on the cutting room floor, but I've got a few more things that are positive. I did a trip to Sony, where I was checking out a new TV, and I realized, oh no, I can't use their display source because it's got copyrighted films on it.
Sure.
So I needed something to output to it. And I was like, well, I have HDR footage, but do I have an HDR capable device? And I went, oh gosh, it's my Linux laptop.
This is what I'm talking about, right? Normal people don't have HDR content on their device that they have to stream to a bespoke display. That's just not a normal use case. People would just do AirPlay.
Kubuntu handled it like a champ.
Yay, let's go!
Absolutely zero.
KDE by far I think is the best end user normie. No, I wouldn't say normie, but end user experience, right? It's like it has this look and feel of Windows for familiarity for people, and it has the ecosystem of Microsoft. KDE Connect is amazing. I have used it before, and maybe I'll use it again now. See, once I either get Asahi working on my personal MacBook Pro. This is a desktop kind of setup, even though it's whatever. But on the Mac Pro, or if I switch to a framework or something, then I'll definitely get KDE again, because it's amazing. Dude, it's the Apple ecosystem basically, right? Things that matter. Things before, I would say 3 years ago, at least.
BS.
It's amazing.
Honestly, handled it like a champ. Absolutely zero BS. Honestly, it was a better experience than Windows.
Wow.
I was floored.
For me, with Bazzite, I actually found a lot of positives came from external launchers, which was honestly really surprising, because obviously Proton is very tied with Steam,
Sure,
at
yeah.
least online in terms of the narrative behind it. But there was times where I was able to get the Xbox launcher working, and I even managed to boot brand new Forza Horizon 6 on it.
Interesting.
Because,
I didn't.
but we're not talking about that right now.
No negatives
This is a positive. All right. I think yeah. The other bit of positive is that it's just more fun. Like the problem
I'm telling you, you are a Linux user, buddy.
that I'd run into on Windows for the last, honestly, years, like not a short period of time, has almost always just been really annoying.
I felt like they're problems by design, whereas on
Kinda.
Linux, I feel like they're problems by we didn't get to that yet.
Your
Valid point.
HDR thing is so polished because some person out there was just annoyed about HDR and made it awesome.
Yeah.
And just maybe someone hasn't been annoyed enough about the problem that you're dealing with right now, so it hasn't been made completely awesome yet. But you can probably fix it yourself.
Yeah. Shifting gears a little bit, as someone who has set up a lot of computers, the whole going through and getting the driver's rigmarole bothers me more than it probably should. And on Linux, it just isn't a thing. If you've got a recent kernel, it just, everything, my Wi-Fi, my Bluetooth, all of my crap, mostly just
Linux is magical. The kernel. And I'm not talking about the desktop right now. I'm talking about Kubernetes. I'm talking about everything that exists around us right now. It's all in Linux kernel. It just works on every kind of device.
works. And it blows me away that in the year of our Lord 2026, Microsoft can't have a similar experience with Windows Update.
Windows Update was actually like, I don't know, kind of fascinating. Like,
There's nothing to, I mean, okay, Microsoft is an enterprise B2B company. You cannot expect quality from them. It's just...
going from updating Mint and Cache to updating my Windows machine felt like I went back a decade.
Yeah.
Like it was not only are you not getting those driver updates, but it's also not updating just all the software on your computer.
In fairness to
You're an arch, everything updates.
Windows, Chocolatey, Winget, these things do exist.
Chocolate. I've used Winget, not personally. If I have to like set up Microsoft Office for somebody, I've used Winget there.
Exist, and the Microsoft Store does exist. It just doesn't feel like part of the native experience. And the parts that do, like the Windows Store,
Get to the negative stuff quickly.
feel crammed down my throat and like they come with downsides.
And like you're best off to try to avoid it.
And I mean, speaking of that, I actually enjoyed using the built-in like Bazzite store because it worked very well. There was no other ads shoved in my face. 9 times out of
I feel like whatever complaints folks have about things like installing stuff on Linux, Debian, that it's a Debian problem. Because Debian everything. There's no rolling release thing for Debian, right? Like Fedora, there is one. Arch, there is one. So everything is like legacy in the main universal packages. So people have to just have workarounds, and so people have Canonical as snaps, somebody has Flatpaks. Arch, dude, just name a software, name a piece of software, right? I don't know, the -s, just something. Tell me, there was some video editor somebody was talking about. Kdenlive, I think I did install that, right? I just do that, and it's installed, right? And I just go and I open Kdenlive, right? New project, whatever, right? Right there. So this is that problem only exists for Debian mostly, is what I would say. But again,
10, I could probably find what I wanted.
You don't need to log in with your 2FA and then like randomly you have to log in again in the Minecraft.
I don't remember what distro Linus is using in this challenge, but these two are having fun because they are on Fedora and Arch respectively, and both are rolling releases.
Launcher app that you downloaded from the Windows Store with the same
If I'm not wrong.
credentials. Why?
Yeah, it was
Just inherited.
it was awesome to actually use a store that I kind of liked.
Honestly, just the
You know why? Because that store is installing real binaries. It's not a different format of the way Windows. Again, why? Just get past Windows.
the experience of getting software in general on Linux feels pretty good. Like updating with Pacman, you
Dude, that statement, just that statement is crazy, right? I mean, that's again, see, you are on Arch. You can do stuff like that on Arch.
the little animation of it, like
I
eating.
think all we have to do to make the year of Linux Desktop a reality is get Ubuntu out of the beginner throne. It's not a good beginner distro. Put Cache there, put any simple KDE based Arch, put Manjaro there.
Little bits as it goes along. It just like feels good, and then
Or if you want to be happier, put Amashi there. Or if you want to be a developer, put Real Arch there.
going to update Windows after only like a
By
week
the way-
not only took forever, but it's not entirely clear like what's even going on. Things will sit at 99% for 10 minutes. And it's so rewarding when you go to update. I have this experience with Cache all the time where it'll be like this big system update and it finishes and it's like net size change minus whatever. Like it just got smaller. Like, what? Are you kidding me?
And even when things don't work, okay, this might be a bit of a controversial take, but I was blown away by how quickly I could solve things with an LLM.
Oh yeah.
Compared to
Not
like
controversial.
trawling
And in fact, not ChatGPT. All you should do is just install open code and ask it to do things. You don't even have to log in.
endless, ancient forum posts, because that's the thing about Linux. Double-edged sword is it's moving really fast, which is great for it like getting better all the time, but not great for the archive of information that's out there on the internet. With something can be from 6 months ago and be completely irrelevant today.
I also found that I did a bunch of LLM usage with trying to learn how to use Linux, but I tried to use it.
Tej did like a whole talk at OmaCon about how he's, modifying it with LLM.
As an educational tool instead of like an autocomplete. But FS tab, I was messing around in there. But instead of just like, I would ask it like, what should I put here? And it would tell me, but then I'd be like, okay, well, there's like 2 random numbers at the end. What are those? What does that mean? And I'm like, what is this? It says no fail. What is it not failing? Why would I want it to fail?
Dude, that's the attitude.
I mean, speaking of fail, it's funny you brought up LLM because of how much people made fun of you in part 1 for using it to decide your distro. I was so scared of that kind of reception that I cautiously was like, I'm not using an LLM to solve my issues. I broke that after like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I tried what you said. I went through like old forum posts, old Reddit posts, or whatever, and hey, 6 out of 10 probably worked fine.
Yeah.
But those 4 out of 10 that didn't drove me nuts. So,
I also ran into the LLM just like gaslighting the heck out of me.
Oh, of course,
Like,
of course.
It happens, but you have to be aware of that as well.
Now, we do have to move on, and I get it. Criticizing Linux feels a little bit like walking outside on a crisp autumn day to discover that some kind neighbor has raked all the leaves in your yard. Then tracking down that neighbor and explaining to them that you would have done it differently. However, we do have some ongoing sources of friction with Linux, even a month into our switch. Why don't we start with Luke?
Yeah, I've had some issues with my pressing my middle mouse button.
Yeah.
which you might not think you use that often. I like scrolling that way on really long web pages.
I'm a middle mouse diehard.
Yeah.
I love it.
I don't know how many people are, but I am as well. And that just wasn't working anywhere. I figured out that that's a settings toggle that you can do in browsers, so I was able to solve that. But like in Baldur's Gate, the way that you turn the screen is you press in your scroll wheel and then rotate the screen.
Well, one of the ways you turn the screen.
But I just rebound the middle mouse version to a single key because it just wasn't working at all. And I ended up looking into this, and it is a thing with Linux where drag select
I'm not sure what it's talking about.
copies whatever you select, and then pressing in the middle mouse wheel pastes it. And it's just like, okay,
You don't need mouse.
but I don't want that. Then I tried to look up some resources online and then just figured out that, oh, okay, I can just change the settings in the browser.
Exactly.
That's 95% of what I need to change here.
Yeah.
Another annoying thing that I had is I didn't get Forza 6 working. There's kind of an issue here that I don't run into when I'm troubleshooting things on Windows, which is I couldn't error.
Face it,
Games I don't care
Proton, even though it's super cool and magical,
I
is
do care about
effectively,
it, but-
from the game developer standpoint, an unsupported use case. You have no way of knowing, is this just me? Is this my weird flavor of Linux? Is this the game? Is it my hardware?
I mean,
Just don't use stable Linux. Just use rolling release and you're good. Because anyways, Linus managed to crash Pop OS twice, right? That's the point. It's fine.
speaking of things that don't just work sometimes, for me, it was search. And search on Bazite was surprisingly terrible.
this
and
is not the direction I was expecting
Yeah.
this conversation to go.
to be very clear, Windows search, absolute ass as well. In fact, probably
Right now, Apple is the worst.
worse than Bazite.
Okay.
But the problem is that Bazite/Linux, I believe this is probably under the
Just switch to dmenu or switch to Rofi.
whole roof. They sometimes make things different just for the fact of being different from Windows.
I do get that sometimes.
And so when I would type the word sleep to adjust my sleep settings, and because I type sleep enter, my computer would go to sleep. That is a habit I still have not broken. It's such a minor thing, but it paints the bigger picture that I'm talking about.
The hard thing about a lot of these frustrations is they could be like habit-based or based on just sort of the logic of operating systems that you're used to, like your middle mouse expected behavior. And I don't know how to solve that, right? Because on the one hand, you don't want all Linux distros to just be Windows clones. Like,
Yeah, there's some weird thing that does that.
that's the whole point. That's what we're trying to get away from. But on the other hand, if they're too different, it's hard for you to confidently look at someone in your life who uses Windows or Mac OS and go, yes, I recommend this Linux, fully
Mac OS is easier.
acknowledging that I'm going to be the tech support for it when you run into problems with it. Which I guess is part of why so many different distros do need to exist. Even if that itself may continue to be a pain point for Linux and
not.
for me in particular. Enter any
I don't know why you should make this choice every time. Just use something. Just use catchy.
Linux distribution conversation, and you will find at least half a dozen people who are confidently declaring that their one distro to rule them all would have solved all your problems.
I do relate to him, right? I mean, even like as somebody who's been using Linux since 2016, which is like what, 10 years now, 9 years now, I stay away from certain things. Like I don't use KDE, I don't use X, whatever Mint is, and whatever XFCE is, right? I am a happy i3 user, but I stay away from Sway because setting up it on variant is painful. I use Hyperland. I use GNOME. If I'm on a new distro, I would always pick GNOME. In fact, even my Arch right now, this Arch install is not a fresh. I mean, it is an empty. It is a fresh Arch install, but it was a GNOME setup, and then I switched to Hyperland. That's how I get the lock screen with GNOME, and I can always look for GNOME utils. Maybe right. We know certain things to avoid based on our preferences. So yeah, it is realistic.
And it'll be half a dozen different distros. So clearly, right? Like whether I'm expecting a Windows clone or whether I'm expecting something totally different, hyper
Zorin is, I think, something I would recommend to those folks. But what is Zorin based off? Let's play with it.
passionate community. The Linux user base, I think if I had to summarize it, is weird because collectively, the community is actually really great. And individually, they're really great.
Usually.
But it's like the little cliques, the little tribes that form. And then things get kind of toxic. But
I do this every time. Sorry about that. This is weird.
for not choosing their better distro, the only reason they were going at me was because they wanted me to have a good Linux experience. Not the right way to be welcoming.
It's okay though.
I have one last gripe. Display
Okay,
capture in Wayland.
valid point.
I wish it could be simpler. I also
Wayland Display. The fact that people have to worry about Wayland.
I ran into pairing issues with my Xbox controllers.
Display capture in general is a little bit clunky on the
Like,
thing.
I mean, see, Hyperland, right? Default Hyperland is unusable to me because I need this thing. I want to start something. Okay. Okay. I just rename this to something else. Whatever. So that it doesn't repeat it. And I want to start another one below, like either right next to it or below it, explicitly. Hyperland does not support it, but I mean it does support it, but it's just not the default config, and it took me, I don't know, Claude and Codex and everything working together to figure out how to do it, right? But now I'm totally happy on Hyperland. But right before I was struggling setting up Sway.
Was like a little bit surprised you didn't do your
Wayland is-
streaming setup originally. That was probably the right
But
call.
Yeah, I
Wayland
wasn't
is
gonna go
good,
like-
But the fact that people have to be aware of this is a pain.
2 months without streaming.
Yeah. Well, no, I like.
I am
on the
streaming
Linux side.
right now.
I was like a little bit surprised you didn't do your streaming setup originally. That was probably the right call.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go like 2 months without streaming.
Yeah. Well, no,
More, I'm streaming off Arch, dude.
Like-
Yeah, exactly.
I've been streaming and
Sure.
it's been fine, but I have to kind of reconfigure things. Like I'll open up OBS and every single one of my desktop capture sources will reload and be like, what do you actually want to capture? It doesn't remember from last time. There might be a way to solve that. It doesn't take me that much time to reconfigure it, but when I was back on Windows, I open OBS and I click start stream. It's just a little bit smoother, but it only takes
It's not. I just did this exactly what you're describing on Arch.
me 30 seconds to fix it. It's not the end of the world, but that also lies
But you are a developer.
in that area where it only takes me 30 seconds to fix it, so I'm not going to spend the half an hour that could make it so I never have to spend the 30 seconds
Okay.
again, because that
Yeah, that's my battery percentage, sleep, power off from monitor, all those things. I just don't do those.
probably possible.
Yeah, I'd say the like 30 to 120 seconds is the danger zone for problems. The I will
Valid point.
never fix it time frame.
I'll just do this forever.
On the subject of unfixable things, there was one final gripe for you, I believe.
Yeah, it was some software. The Proton compatibility layer has made
Game.
experience
I don't care about games.
work on Bazzite.
Sorry.
That can only be described as delusional, or who directly messaged me telling me to stop hamming up this drama so that way I could make Linux look bad.
Yeah, why do you hate Linux, Elijah?
It's all my
What?
fault.
And
right?
hot dogs.
I love hamburgers. And it's a big problem because most people will not switch to Linux unless those games are working. And devs aren't going to prioritize the Linux development,
There's a game called Rust. Okay.
you know, if people don't switch over. I don't know the solution for this, but I do know that staying quiet and pretending it's not a problem isn't the solution.
Yeah, you just didn't want to play that game.
No, I'm gonna get loud
Don't play Valorant.
because I'm gonna put pressure on developers.
Yeah,
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Valid.
yeah. And the good news is that more games work than don't
He was sad.
on Linux. And I know both myself and Elijah have been trying more games because of that. Like sometimes I'll be like, oh, does that work? And it's kind of exciting to even launch it. There's so much to explore both in the ecosystem itself and in the game.
And it can be really fun.
I mean, as a gamer when I was a kid and a developer now, the only reason I would try setting up games on Linux is for the fun of it. Like once it launches, I'm done with the game. I'm probably gonna do that.
In a way, I do see where people were coming from on the marathon thing. Sorry, I do. They just came at the person instead of talking through the issue. You are not crazy if you want to play the third part of the Final Fantasy VII remake on the PlayStation 5. That's not crazy. You're not crazy if you want to play Marathon
I get it. I mean, if I bought like an expensive framework computer with GPUs, I would want to play games on Linux, and I would never put Windows. So, yeah.
on a Windows machine. But it's also not crazy to see Linux as a platform separate from those things that supports these games. And framing everything in terms of what it doesn't support,
Yeah.
I can see how people would find that kind of toxic.
Yeah.
And I can see how
I mean, yeah, God of War was only on PlayStation for how many years?
you being blamed for
Spider-Man 2.
a game you want to play, you might find that pretty toxic.
Yeah,
I'm going to both sides this one.
This is honestly what largely pushed me more and more towards.
I want to see the reaction. There's one guy who has a really good reaction on these videos. I want to see that. Probably do it offline.
LLMs throughout the process is that I would be having no, but seriously,
Damn, that's absolute truth.
One.
this is honestly what largely pushed me more and more towards LLMs throughout the process is that I would be having no,
I
but
want to talk to people.
seriously,
Damn, that's absolute truth.
Deaf take.
Bomb here.
I'm being completely honest.
I talk to LLMs because people are worse.
That is so
in
happy
some
right
situations.
now.
Okay, so the reason why was because I would be having fun with my experience. I would be messing around with things, enjoying toying with Linux. Like there was genuinely times where I would sit down at my computer fresh, excited to tackle something that I ran into the previous day because it reminds me of old school computing where you tinker with your system and you work on things. And I'd like that. I've been missing that for a very long time.
Yes. Yes.
And I'd be messing around, and then I'd go, oh, okay, I need to look up something, and I'd end up on some Reddit thread, and it's just 400 comments of people going at each other's throats, and I'm just like, what? Sorry, I was having a good time. What is happening here? A lot of the information on the internet right now is centralized on Discord, which is practically unsearchable, or Reddit, which is
I think inherently flawed.
a rough place to go. So like if I couldn't find something in a select kind of few different places, Level 1 text forum is a fantastic option there. If I could find something there, I would read it, I would go through there, that was a good experience. But if I searched something and it was like 7 Reddit threads in a row is all that came up, I would just be like, okay. And I would go over to an LLM and just try to figure it out.
One of the things I really miss from Windows is Windows Hello. Just easy, quick to set up biometric.
I have done biometric on ThinkPads, Touch ID, fingerprint thing on Linux. It works, but it's tricky.
Authentication, and this guy right here, shout out this guy, is a classic example of the kind of toxic.
Good!
I don't want to do certain things, or I should have these as solutions instead. For example, when I complained about not playing PUBG in part 1,
Like a login authentication loop that I couldn't.
I use a subscription-based service.
Non-native Teams app actually worked really well for me the whole month
Really? It did? This app has been the bane of I
until the very end when I ended up in like a login authentication loop that I couldn't get out of, and that happened to be when I was like reformatting to Windows anyway. But I was wondering how yours ended up working.
Mine ended up improving pretty significantly over the course of the challenge. We had like
That's a Teams problem, that's a Microsoft problem. Everything else works perfectly.
opposite arcs. Most of my issues with it, I think, really are just Teams.
All right. This brings us to the big moment.
Yeah.
One at a time, starting with Eli. Who is staying on Linux?
I am.
What? Okay.
I'm actually going to be swapping over to CashOS.
Yes! Arch for the win!
Hey!
Immutable operating system ended up coming back to bite me in the
It's just, yeah, 100% agree.
butt.
I thought that might be a problem.
Later half. Saying that, I'm going to be dual booting.
Yeah.
I'm going to be trying to make Kashi my primary, but as someone who wants to stream the latest and greatest games, I can't have it be an issue and a block to not be able to play Marathon. Windows is going to be dedicated basically just Steam launcher, so that way I can play some games
Love
that don't
that.
work on Linux.
Well, you do some video editing as well, right?
I do. That would be another thing. Yeah, I had issues with video editing in part 1 and part 2. I just ended up paying video editors.
What?
So wait, you weren't willing to subscribe to GeForce Now, but you would hire a person as a workaround.
Yeah. Hey,
That was using Windows.
I gave someone a job.
One last remaining question. You said you're having fun. Is that the primary reason you're switching? Is because it's been more.
No, the primary reason I am staying mainly on Linux is because of Microsoft. When I have been actually only on Windows for the last 2 months because I didn't want to kind of give away that this is what I was going to do. My time on Windows has been really frustrating. There's been a lot of moments, like Linus pointed out, where I'd turn the computer on and it would bring me through 3 or 4 prompts, and I'm just like,
All full of dark patterns,
Really?
like.
I have no
I-
idea. I mean, last Windows I used was Windows 10.
I don't care about being edged for Microsoft Edge. Like, stop it. Like, let me just play my video games, please.
Yeah, I'm staying, and I'm staying on both systems.
You're always on Linux.
So I switched my laptop over for this challenge, Mint. That has honestly been
You should really try IIT. Luke should try IIT. He will enjoy it. He's on Mint already, and I'm guessing that's not a Wayland-based system. If it's a Wayland-based system, do Sway or do Hyperland. He's doing it, I think, on Candy.
Like the biggest W. There has been zero loss. I have had zero drawback to Windows. I think it is only better. But a lot of that comes down to the use case is so simple.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in a browser. Every once in a while, I need to sign a PDF. Every once in a while, I need to open a document. Both those things I can easily do. Other than that, I'm sitting in a browser. Every once in a while, I'll be like on a plane and I want to play Slay the Spire. No problem. It can do all that kind of stuff. I've literally never ran into an issue. But anytime I'm using another laptop on Windows, I'm like, oh, I just wish I was using my machine. So that's like a clear W, and I don't honestly think right now that I'm like ever going back.
100% agree.
On the desktop, it's a bit of a mixed bag, more similar to yours. So I have divided my machine kind of in half at this point. Yeah. So I have.
I think actually we're going to do a video on his kind of unique dual boot setup. So make sure you get subscribed.
I was given a 1 terabyte for this challenge, which is actually running the distro.
You know, you're supposed to give that back.
Yeah.
That's staying in there forever.
To be fair, I was going to do the same thing.
Yeah. Thanks, Linus.
This is the payment for us having to do this for the last month.
As for me, I was very surprised to discover that I could. Linux is ready. And I think soon I will be too. I ran into so many moments throughout the last over a month. I mean, I didn't even bother removing my Linux installs after 30 days. I was pleasantly surprised so many times by how well something worked. But the compatibility barrier is still a tough one. If you're willing to be a Linux gamer, it's easier than it's ever been. There is so much to play that works either perfectly or well enough on Linux that if you start with, here's the platform that I have, I want something to do, it's easy. It's a very console-like experience, and I actually mean that in a really positive way. However, I don't buy many consoles, and I do almost none of my gaming on the ones that I do. And if you want the broadest compatibility,
Gaming.
Super Strike X2 mouse or something, and I'm going to install the native app so that I can evaluate the
Yeah,
hardware.
this is another thing. Having Logitech is, I mean, my Logitech mouse is working just fine on Arch, but yeah. But there's an open source
And that happened-
somebody built recently, Rust, that actually solves this. I forgot the name, but yeah.
A lot for me. With everything I just said out of the way, though, I'm not ready to go back to vanilla Windows either. It has been so refreshing to not be bothered a single time over the last couple of months that I happily extended my time without even thinking about it. And I think that my happy place is going to be to try and find the middle ground. I want to hang out in the Windows deep loading
WSL.
community for a bit. Then if I can't make that work, I might distro hop for a few months and settle on Linux. I sincerely hope that by that time, Valve is ready with an NVIDIA-capable SteamOS, because I am like super SteamOS pilled still. I did end up with that in my home theater room, and it just like, it's the most console-like of all of the gaming experiences on PC, and it's just pretty freaking cool. And now here's a cool segue to our sponsor.
Privacy.